Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Arts Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the Plymouth Cover himself, Zelius, who, of course, skipped on Carolinas last weekend.
I'm still not ready, man. I was not in the zone to start the podcast. What the hell?
Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. So
I quit, man. I'm going to quit over this outrage.
Okay.
But I got to finish my beer in the Chewy Sweet Tarts first, and then I shall make my leave.
So, ladies and gentlemen, while I do this, I would love for you to maybe, hashtag, tweet, Facebook, everything, because this is the part of the show where we do the do.
Why'd you change your shirt?
I didn't change my shirt.
You had a green shirt on earlier.
Yeah, that one had food all over it because I fed my children.
Nobody would notice. It just adds to the decor.
I would notice. And that, sir, is the problem.
Each your own. Okay. What were you saying? I tuned you out for a while.
Okay.
Have you done the intro yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do this. First of all, let me say a very, very big congratulations to Chris Miller, the creator and mastermind behind a pencil and paper RPG called Encore Kingdom of the Gods.
Oh!
Now, what I'm about to show you, okay, so this is a very interesting game, and for those individuals who actually got to play it at MomoCon or any of the other sittings, it's really easy to play. However, to explain it is gosh darn near impossible without actually playing it. We did do an interview with Chris at MomoCon. It was a 22-minute quick interview, which 22 minutes of quick doesn't seem to be the same word, but
as everybody knows, Charlie is quick.
So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the trailer of Encore Kingdom of the Gods, and this is also to show that the people who supported this game must have had to have played this game or someone told them about it, because this trailer, ladies and gentlemen, tells you nothing about the game, at least in my opinion. Let me show you what it is, and then we'll see what y'all's reactions are.
Look, there's a lasers! Newtonian math. Scare you with horns. Huh. Yeah.
So riddle me this, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see anything that said tabletop RPG?
I assume it's a game about vampires in races of the future.
So it's based off Sumerian mythology.
Yep, didn't guess that.
Where there are two planets and an alien race that has come back to check on the humans.
I kind of look at there were multiple aliens in that, but that's okay.
Well, it turns out that there were like multiple mutations, and humans is just one of them. And yeah.
So please do tell us, based on your interview, what is the game actually about? Because I don't freaking know yet.
So it's a pencil and paper RPG. Where the entire system is based off of D12, which is kind of weird. But it basically, you have you got action points that you can assign to different stats and whatever.
Yep.
You've got, I think it's 5 different races and 7 different classes, or 7 different races and 5 different classes. I can't remember. is one or the other,
So 35 combinations.
and you can't, and technically you can't die unless you really want to.
Oh.
If you die, you basically come back in an ethereal form and then gain a bunch of other skills. Yeah, I thought it was a video game too. So, you know, I congratulations to him. I do want to, I do want to state the fact that he did make his goal of 5,000. They still have 3 days to go, so potentially they could, or he could make some stretch goals, but I don't think that the stretch goals are going to be attainable. Let me just double check.
In 3 days?
Yeah, I don't know what the stretch goals are. Let me see here.
Quite an explanation.
Oh, yeah, no.
Looks complicated.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on.
Whoa!
7,000. No, it's not going to work.
Wow.
So yeah, it is very complicated. But really quick, Ankh Kingdom of the Gods is a new sci-fi tabletop role-playing game based on Sumerian mythology and the ancient alien theory. So there you go. So congratulations to Chris, and let's move on to the next topic.
There's more topics.
Well, of course, there's always more topics.
Well, I was just checking, I thought we were going to ramble on about Ankh for the next hour and
I wish I could. Unfortunately, I don't have the...
Lord Nakamata.
All right, so the next game I want to talk about is Anima, Gate of Memories. This is basically an RPG that's based off of... it's actually an action RPG based off like a series of, I guess, graphic novels or something by the same name, Anima, but it's slightly different. I'll give you the trailer real quick and we'll just go from there.
Anima, Gate of Memories coming to the screen near you.
Bearer of calamities. You lost everything when you chained yourself to him, to Ergo Mundus, one of the messengers of the end. But the others are coming. Coming to this tower, made of their own memories. And now you, and that monster who could destroy us all, are the only ones who can save us.
Looks like a pretty good combat.
It kind of has that graphic style of... it kind of looks like that graphic style of .NET. Yeah.
The combat reminds me of Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
You are my weapon, the darkness that devours darkness. Find them, annihilate them, all of them, or the world will not see many more sunrises.
Now, it just came out about 6 days ago.
Looks pretty cool. Looks
PlayStation
like some,
for Xbox One and the PC.
looks like some pretty interesting combat in that game, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully got some Twitch skills.
Indeed, indeed. Ultra Confusion will be reviewing the PC version of this game.
Nice.
So, it looks solid, and to be honest with you, when it comes to RPGs, especially when it comes from the indie community, I do personally kind of hold my breath a little bit, because a lot of the RPGs that come out from the indie community literally use RPG Designer, and it so basically utilizes the same graphics engine, and literally someone basically has this like template of a game world, and people just switch out like small little things and change the story a little bit, and then say it's a brand new RPG.
So it's not truly unique in that game that they're making.
Correct. And so this is, I'm happy to see this. I'm very interested to actually get my hands on it and start playing around with it, because this might actually be a lot of fun. I'm assuming since it's on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, that this is definitely a game meant for controller.
Well, typically those type of hack and slash films in the style of like the Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, all of those definitely work better with the console controller instead of trying to hit like 8 different buttons on the keyboard at once. Yeah, not much fun.
Yeah. So we'll check that out, and we'll hopefully get you a review as soon as possible. All right, on to the next thing. As we fly through all of this stuff.
I feel so high, flying up high.
All right, so one of the games that was at MomoCon that I got to try out, it's actually already out. It's on, you can play it through Facebook or through Steam. You can play it through Facebook at work, just in case.
Can't do it on your cell phone too.
No, not yet. It's about to be released on your tablet and mobile devices.
Nice.
They were in testing while at MomoCon. I don't know when the actual release will happen.
Okay.
So there is a special event that I believe just started. So go check out Crusaders of the Lost Isles. It is a, what's the best way to put it?
Clicker.
It's a clicker game. Basically, you have your party of helpers that are going to automatically do damage
Stuff. Yep.
to your opponents, and then of course you have your clicking ability to then increase damage.
Must break my mouse.
But here's the interesting thing about this: a lot of clickers, they basically, because I've played quite a few clickers myself, what they do is you gain extra people, and it just adds into that overall total.
Yep.
The difference from that to Crusaders of the Lost Idols is that you have different formations.
Okay.
Okay, the formations don't open up until you've played a couple, like quite a few times. However, the first formation that you're going to have is a wedge, so it's basically a triangle.
The traditional, like every
So
tactics
you're
game has
basically
it.
you're going left to right. Okay,
Yep.
so it's going to be a side scroller. It's going to be a triangle. And here's the cool thing: if you put characters in a specific position, it can enhance their ability to do damage or different stats.
Okay.
There's a Wolfman character who can have unbelievable crazy can cause unbelievable crazy damage, but it cannot be next to a human character. So it's got to be something else. There's one called, I think it's called like the Krabby Herman or something like that. That guy cannot have anyone in front of him. If he does it, then he gains like a skill. And then there's also, I believe the Phoenix basically gives a boost, I think 10% boost to all the DPS for all the characters.
So you really have to think about your formation
Yes.
instead of just picking, basically the highest DPS character. You really actually have to think about what am I doing, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. The other cool thing is, so in any of the clickers, what you do is you have, you gain so much money, and then you basically
Upgrade
you
your troops.
level up them, and then of course they slowly increase. So in this game, and a lot of the clicker games as well, you hit certain like levels, and what you do, you need to click what you do is after so many, you basically get these like special items or special skills that you can unlock for like a ton of money. And then once you do that, of course it does a boost or it does a special ability. Now there's one ability that's at the end of every single character except for one, that once you hit level 200, it basically applies a ×4 multiplier to your damage for every 25 levels past that. So it starts at 4 and then keeps multiplying.
Clicker Heroes does the same exact thing.
Okay, well, in this one it does that as well.
Yep.
And which means that Wolfman, who, as long as he's not surrounded by anybody, is just a freaking beast.
He does his job, man.
Indeed. So, okay, so here's the interesting thing, okay? So every single time you play through the game, there is the potential of, you basically have an overall goal that you're trying to obtain, and then you reset the world.
Yep.
Resetting the world, of course, basically, it takes all of the levels and divides it by 500, and it gives you these special idols that will unlock super special skills.
Yeah.
But you have to get you got to get to world something before that tier of skills gets unlocked.
Yeah.
And then of course, once you've reset the world, you can select a new overarching what do you call it? Quest that you have to obtain before resetting the world again.
Yep. So it sounds like your traditional, clicker style. Where you keep on getting more powerful to unlock super secret skills that then translate through every world you travel through.
Mhm.
But maybe with a little bit more strategy involved in this game than I've seen in other clicker games.
Right.
Because
Right.
most are pretty straightforward. Literally, all you do is level up stuff,
Mhm.
do your skills. That's it. There's really nothing else to think about.
And of course, there's also you could send your characters on quests to like obtain certain things, special characters, and of course, there's like a time element to it. And of course, if you send specific characters on those quests, you cannot add them to your active party, which makes sense. It's not. What was the game? I was playing a game a while ago that literally you could send these people on quests. However, they could continue to be in your RPG party. And so it's like, yeah, they're over there doing this, but they're still killing monsters over here.
That's very effective. Maybe they have a teleporter that they just haven't told the rest of us about.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
So anyways, check out Crusaders of the Lost Isles. Like I said, you can get it on Facebook right now. Or, of course, you go to Steam. It is free to play. Of course, there is microtransactions if you want to get the red rubies.
You can buy like gems and upgrade your characters faster and all that stuff.
Gems to unlock treasure chests. I don't think there's actually like a skill boost.
Okay.
There is, when you do certain quests, there is ability to like you increase the money that comes in for an X amount of time. Or
Yes.
there's the little like one-time use items that allow you like a boost for your attack, your critical damage. Basically damage everybody on the screen for X amount of DPS or something like that. But anyways, check out Crusaders of the Lost Idols. I highly recommend it. I have been putting way too much time into that game, so it's got to be good.
easier in those clicker games to get sucked in.
Right.
Because they have the whole character approach perfected.
Right, and the thing is, for me, because I've played clicker games before, my thing is I kind of neglect my the clicker hero
Mm-hmm.
and just pour everything into all the other guys. I'm just going to do that for me.
Yep.
And then so I set it up pretty good.
Well, in some of those games, you get to the point where it actually somehow decreases your DPS to actually click.
Right. And then there's the other thing is that I think some clickers do this as well. You get even if the game's not running, you still gain experience
Yes.
and money.
Yeah.
And actually, if you close the thing, it actually adds a permanent boost to your character for I think it's like for if you basically leave it idle for such and such time, it gives you a boost, and that keeps adding after a little bit to kind of increase that, so that you're not always on the damn thing. Whoops,
Yeah.
that's not the right one.
Yeah, you're not totally disincentivized to sign off the game.
Right.
Right on.
Absolutely. All right, so the next one that we want to talk about, because I think everyone knows where this is going, but we're going to say it anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about mergers and acquisitions.
Are you going to murder somebody?
So, I think 2N coins is nothing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, most of the Clicker Hero games, any of them, it gets to the point where they start using freaking like scientific notation.
Well, I've had like lowercase s and then big S and then lowercase o and then
Yep.
big O, and you're just like, and then N, you're just like, I don't even know what this is anymore.
Yeah, eventually in Clicker Heroes original, when you get far enough where they just start using, you have like 10 times, 10 to the 100th power coins. They just given up on using whatever letters because they
Right.
ran out of the alphabet.
Right. So okay. So let's talk about mergers and acquisitions. This is a game, of course, that's dear to our hearts here at Alter Confusion. We've had the amazing Craig Campbell on the show multiple times, and it successfully funded.
Yeah, woo!
What
What was the original goal?
I believe the original goal was what, like
5,000.
no, God no, it was like 1,300 or something.
$1,300.
I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
I'm thinking of the last game we just looked at.
Yeah. This one was, this one was, I think it was $1,300.
Sounds about right.
But I believe it reached 6,000.
6,000 even.
Let's double check real quick here.
No, it said at the top right.
No, I was looking to see if he's got the stretch goals on here, but I don't see the stretch
Yeah,
goals.
where'd the stretch goals go?
I think it changed it up.
What?
Mhm.
Craig Campbell, you took off the stretch goals. You're fired as a friend.
Right.
Is that how
Anyways.
it works?
I guess I don't know.
I know he just reached one because like 5,000, because like 6,000 was like reaching a goal at 6,000.
Okay, let's put this little bit of like misunderstanding away. Craig Campbell has as much money as he had to begin with. When you run a successful Kickstarter, you basically have funded the game. That's it. If you're lucky, you break even. With Craig, because of the way he did it, he probably will break almost dead even. The trap has always been the like the prizes and stuff that people don't forget to do, like shipping and stuff. But it
He's outsourcing that to drive through RPG.
correct. But he's actually what he's doing is he's paying drive through RPG to knock it down to just the nuts and bolts cost,
Yeah.
not inflating it. So he's actually taking some of the basically paying the inflation so that you can get the down low rate. Plus he's paying the artists. He's got editors.
But he's not paying. He's not having to deal with sending out T-shirts and buttons
No,
and
'cause-
actual books
'cause
themselves or any of that crap.
That actually is expensive as
Yes, it is. I agree. And it's time consuming. Think about that time. You know, you got 200 backers, and I got to send all 200 of your backers. You have to figure out, okay, what gift did this specific person own? Now I have to get the box for that. I got to get the package for that. I got to get the postage for that. I got to go to UPS.
well.
That's
See,
a giant pain in the ass.
the thing is, a lot of people don't understand this is that when it comes to physical rewards, one of the things that a lot of the Kickstarter creators have to do is when they do physical prizes, they personally have to box them and send them out. They don't have someone to. There's no distributor where they're like, "Here's my mailing list."
Yeah.
They're literally sitting in their living room or whatever, and they're putting things into boxes and got checklists and like have to double check before putting the tape on to make sure that people are getting the right items. I mean, it is a bitch. Plus, the fact is international shipping is crazy depending on what country you're sending it to.
So what he's saying is we have a new company to make where we're going to send on behalf of these Kickstarters out all their swag.
Sure, you could do
Eh.
it because I don't have time. Yeah,
I
seriously,
have a
don't time.
coworker to help me out. It'd be
Well,
great.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So congratulations to Craig Campbell for a very successful mergers and acquisitions, where I think they surpassed 5 stretch goals.
And if I remember, hey, not Connor, good lord. Wildcat did an interview with Mr. Craig Campbell at MomoCon.
And actually sat down and played.
I'm assuming that somewhere on the Wildcat network of
Wildcat
awesomeness,
47.
you'll be able to see some of that video footage of Wildcat and Mr. Craig Campbell.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Craig. All right. So as many of you know, we have been doing a lot of conventions as of late. We did MomoCon 2 weeks ago, and then we did Con Carolinas this past week. MomoCon was phenomenal. It was awesome. Alter Confusion was there in press capacity. So there was a lot of interviewing.
How'd the interviewing go?
So I feel really bad because we weren't able to interview every single indie developer there. And I've reached out to them, and hopefully they will allow me to do some type of interview with them. However, I think we got 7 or 8 of them.
It's a good number.
There's a lot of amazing games out there. We interviewed the guys behind Crusaders of the Lost Idols. We interviewed the guys behind a game called Quiver of Crows, which is a really interesting game, and I really want to see what the ending's like because the ending basically explains like the hidden meaning behind what's going on. There was a Red Coat Robots, which is still pretty early on, but basically it's a touch screen game, so it's gonna be on your mobile device, where you have a character that's going to basically it involves a lot of strategy because you're trying to take out the enemies without taking too much fire on yourself because everyone's got a gun.
Of course.
So you get a bonus if you stand against a wall, and then you have the ability to kind of like duck out and and shoot and then come back in. However, you got to basically tell it not to shoot anymore. And it's one of those, thankfully, for the love of God, this is great. It's one of those games that once you've clicked on the enemy, if the enemy is in sight, your character will shoot and you can move around and your character will continue to shoot that enemy until unselected. So, yeah. So that's an interesting game. I'm trying to remember what the other games were.
The one I saw, which I found interesting, I can't remember the name of it,
Mhm.
but it was the one. So there was a group there of high school students.
Yeah, I did not get to review that.
And basically, it was down in a very poor school down in southern Georgia,
Mhm.
and it's a programmer guy, and he runs a class, and they made it's a turn-based tactics game.
Mhm.
And the thing I was really impressed about is how much thought they put into the actual tactical combat of the game.
Mhm.
So like when you were like your little tactical guy, you had range and you had DPS and you had healers,
Mhm.
but like even when you went to go attack somebody,
Mhm.
if you weren't paying attention, because you had to have a little bit of rock paper scissors going on, like in the first, like red might be more powerful than blue or whatever. But on top of that, you also had, depending on what angle you attacked from or are attacked from, you'll take more or less damage. So if you're a dude and you're attacking somebody head on, that person might not take any damage.
Mhm.
But if you can go back and backstab them, they might take like 10 damage.
Interesting.
And it's all right there for you to see. So they've really thought about the tactical combat very heavily. And these are high school students who meet once a week, and they made this game in like 6 months. So it's just really cool to see, the progress that these kids made, I thought, in a video game.
Right.
I was impressed.
So one of the other games that I did reach out to, I was able to interview the developer behind, was a thing called Magitech. And this is kind of an interesting game. So basically, it's a card-based game that is kind of like this sci-fi with a little bit of like I don't know, like android robot technology thrown in there. And the crazy thing is, this game is basically tricks you into learning, and it's like you're learning economics and like crazy stuff, like crazy business stuff, and you're just like, holy crap. I do have the interview up there on Ultra Confusion. Of course, all our interviews are on Ultra Confusion and YouTube. I highly recommend that you check this game out.
So somebody had to watch one interview. Like, man, I can't watch 8 interviews. What's like one that they should go check out right after the podcast? What stood out as, man, this is good shit right here?
Okay, so that's a good question. I would tend to lean towards Dimension Drive simply because of their crazy ass backstory of what happened and how they persevere and rose.
Dimension Drive. Is that the one where you're on 2 different screens?
Yes.
Man, that game's a mindfuck. I mean, serious. Did you actually play it?
Yeah.
Like,
I played it. I showed it off at Con Caroline.
Oh, that game is wacky. It's a great shoot 'em up game, but man, it hurt my brain playing.
Well, but so basically, what it is for those
I guess
who haven't played it,
what it was.
basically it's a sci-fi shooter, top-down shooter that's divided into 2 screens. Okay, there's a left and a right screen. Your ship's going to be on one side, and there's basically going to be like a position dot on the other. And what you're going to do is you're going to have to flip between the 2 because each side is actually slightly different than the other. The other thing is that there comes a time where you're gonna the quickest way to refill your energy in order to shoot is to flip over to the other side.
Yep.
Now the thing is, it's not natural for you to be able to pick up this game and play it immediately. However, once you start figuring it out, it becomes very interesting, very challenging, and pretty rewarding when you actually figure out
It's
how
a
to
very
get past
cool take on the whole shoot 'em up games to me. We've seen the top down shoot 'ems for 20 years now, and they've all tried to do another thing, but this is one of the first truly unique takes on the genre I've seen.
Right.
And they did it well.
Right, absolutely. To be honest with you, so one of the games that immediately comes to my mind is a game called Ikaruga. It was on the GameCube, and basically you were a white ship and a black ship on top of each other, and once again it was top down, and when there was black enemies, you had to be a white ship,
Wow.
and then you flipped for the black enemies
Yep.
to do the white ship. So basically you had to do that. But so in this one, instead of like flipping like this, you're flipping sides of the screen.
And it made really interesting boss fights.
Oh god, yes. Because the thing is that there's a boss on both sides of the screen. So if you take care of one, that means there's still another one. Where most of the time, yes, there's enemies coming on both sides of the screen, and you don't have to kill all the enemies. Okay, let's just put that out there because, oh my God, that would be insane. But there's definitely a reason to keep on popping between the two screens. So that's probably the interview I recommend. Most of these interviews are very short. I mean, they're probably 4 minutes tops.
Oh, nice.
So, they are bite-sized. I did it on purpose so that everyone can get a quick idea of what the game's about, what's the name of the company, what's their vision, how are they inspired, what kind of obstacles have they overcome. Like Dimension Drive has probably the biggest obstacle.
What are the obstacles?
They're the company that got funded on Kickstarter, and then 30 minutes before the end of Kickstarter, it was a $7,000 fraudulent charge that knocked them down. But they got back up and re-kicked it, and they've got a game that hopefully will be out soon.
Right on.
And I know that they would love to put it on consoles. So support it on the PC by buying it, and then we can see it on the console.
Well, it'll definitely be a natural transition to the console.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
no reason you can't play
I
on
mean,
a console controller.
Well, you're playing with a 360 controller. There's no other way to play that.
Is that what else? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a 360 controller. And basically, any game on the PC, you're going to be playing with the 360 controller. Unless, of course, you have a Steam box, which you're probably greatly in the minority, and then you have a Steam controller. And apparently, from my understanding, people said I just didn't know how to hold it, how to hold my arms. It was weird. Like, it was too light. I don't, I guess if you use it a lot, you figure it out, but I don't know.
It just doesn't have the natural ergonomics of a regular controller.
Absolutely. So, so Dimension Drive, definitely check that out. And then another game that's already out there, they're about to release a huge update, is a game called Dragonfen Soup. It's an RPG starring Red Riding Hood, and I have to say it's pretty solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's another game that we showed off at Con Carolinas. Speaking of Con Carolinas, okay, so we did MomoCon. We had press credentials at MomoCon, and we interviewed a bunch of the indies, and of course, I got the opportunity to do a group interview with a couple people up there or big names up there. The one that I've posted is, of course, Steve Bloom, the man with the voice behind Spike Spiegel of Cowboy Bebop. I can never remember the name of the robot for Toonami, but that's Steve Bloom. He's also Heatwave on Transformers Rescue Bots.
Woo, Rescue Bots!
He's also one of the main characters in Star Wars Rebels, the Disney DX cartoon. And he's he's one of the main characters, and he's basically the voice of all the Stormtroopers. So he's multitasking.
He has a masterful voice.
The guy's a legend, okay? It was awesome to be in the same room with him. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, so that was MomoCon. 28,311 people went to MomoCon this year, and it's only going to increase.
It was a solid group of people.
Indeed. And of course, Ultra Confusion already has a fan table there for next year. Speaking
Excellent.
of which, Ultra Confusion already has a fan table at Canuga.
Canuga!
So if you're going up to Canuga, that's Chattanooga, for those of you who don't know where Canuga is, it is happening, I believe, near the end of February. I think it's the weekend before the end of February. I think that's what it is. I think it's like
So that'd be the last week in January?
19, 20, 21st. No. Okay, so the last weekend in February, then go back 1 week.
Oh, I thought you said before the first week,
No.
which I'm like, okay.
Yes, MomoCon was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be back at Canuga. We're going to be back at MomoCon.
Wild Kid, are you going to come to Canuga with us?
You should come.
Canuga's fun because we're also with another great group of guys.
They're not going to get a table here.
But I'm not really surprised.
Vitamin
let's be
Geek.
honest.
Vitamin Geek will be around as attendees.
Let's be honest. They were there last year with a table, and I don't think they're ever actually at their table.
Anyways, so okay. The other convention we went to is Con Carolinas. Zelius didn't go. Jesse went with me. It was very interesting.
My cat wouldn't let me.
It was. It had more the vibe of a Canuga, except that everything was in one centralized place.
Okay.
But it was smaller than Canuga. Of course, it just didn't have the same size. It was basically in a convention center that's built onto an Embassy Suites up in Concord, North Carolina. And it was interesting. There was definitely quite a few bumps at the beginning. For those of you who are wondering how many autographs I gave out, because you probably heard the story many times of someone asked basically the creators, or sorry, the staff behind Con Carolina's reached out and said, hey, would you be available for autographs? And they were asking if I would give autographs. I said, sure. I only gave one out.
Only one.
And the autograph that I gave out was a promise that was made when we were doing, I think it was we were doing like a pre-Thursday night hangout video on Facebook, and one of our friends, Dave, was on there, and he told me that I should give him a signed Mountain Dew Black Label, and that's when so that's the one autograph I gave out.
So did you actually have like your signing booth there, or do people just supposed to come by
You're
your
supposed
table?
to come by your table.
Okay.
So I did get one autograph while I was at Con Carolina. And that was the author David B. Coe, who I read his books back in like the late '90s, and I actually had one of my I have one of his books still available, and I grabbed it from my collection and brought it up there and had him sign it. And his immediate response is, "Wow, that's an old book." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I haven't seen that in a while." I'm like, "Well, yeah." But it was interesting. It took us 2 hours to find our fan table, so that was fun.
How did it take so long to find the fan table?
So it turns out that even though they knew that we were coming, even though that they knew that we were supposed to have a table, someone forgot to actually assign us a table. So we looked at all the tables that are out, because basically the entire convention is this round circle type of situation. You just basically walk around. You can find all the tables. We weren't at any of the tables.
Oh.
So then we were told maybe we were in the vendor hall. So we go to the vendor hall. We look at all the tables. There's no names on any of the tables in the vendor hall. So I asked the guy who's running the vendor hall. He goes, "Nope, there's no way you're in here because you're not a vendor." I'm like, "Okay." He said, "But you said video games, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Check the gaming room." So I go in the gaming room. I check all the tables there. There's no cause of confusion on any of those tables. So I talked to the guy running the gaming room. And I was like, "Hey, I'm still looking for my table." He goes, What are you doing?" I said, I'm all too confused with our video game review website. "Oh, no. Digital games don't go in here. We're tabletop and card. We only do tabletop and card. We don't deal with the video
We're
game
elitists,
stuff.
man. Get your ass out of
You're
here.
definitely not in here." I'm like, go down. So I walked back out, and I walked, a couple of times down the hall, up and down. I'm like searching for tables. There's a couple tables that don't have any names on it, but I don't want to be like that dick who grabs one of those tables, and then people are like, "Excuse me, that's my table."
First come, first serve, bro.
So
It's like Southwest.
So the sad thing is, I keep getting redirected to all these different people, and finally I find the person. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but finally find the person that actually controls all the tables. And she's like, "I know you're supposed to have a table. You're not on my list. There's a couple people that have canceled. Let me show you the tables that are available, and I will, and you can choose whichever one you want." All right, like, cool. So she shows me the tables that are available, and of course we took one. But the funny thing is, it was right outside of the guest relations room. So basically, where we started and we got our badge, literally, if we had walked out of that room and as soon as we walked out and looked across the hall, that was our table. That's where it ended up being. So 2 hours later, we finally get our table. So we set up. I had 3 panels. That's the other weird thing about Con Carolinas, okay? I've never seen a convention do this before. What they did is they asked for panel submissions, okay? And then they basically opened up the list of panels to all the guests that were attending, and then asked, "Do you want, which ones would you like to be panelists on?" And so Destruction of the Game Industry and Video Games Today.
So people could sign up to be on that panel?
Yeah, there were people on that panel, but I reached out to each one of them. I'm like, "Are you seriously going to be part of this panel?" Because I don't mean to be mean, but I've never had people that I've never met before on my panels. And thankfully, they're both like, "Oh gosh, I got overbooked," or "I told them I couldn't make any panels on Friday." So thankfully, it was just me and Jesse at those panels, but it was weird. But okay, so I had 3 panels.
So you signed up for these other panels to go to?
Yeah, I thought, I thought what was going to happen was that the submitters would get a list of people who are interested in being panelists, and then they could pick and choose if they wanted to, right? No. It's like, if you want to be on this panel, you're on this panel.
Go for it.
So I was on. This is how it went down. Video Games Today was the first panel. The second panel was Destruction of the Game Industry as we know it, which is kind of weird to have them flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And then the third panel was breaking into the RPG tabletop industry.
Oh, that's your specialty.
Well, so I took it from like the Kickstarter point of view,
Okay.
and also the testing point of view, because basically, one of the panels that we gave a lot of last year was, so you finish making your indie game, you think you're done.
We know that nobody ever went to.
Well, not very many people went to. We had a pretty good turnout at MomoCon. That was like 7 or 8 people in the room.
I just say our new panels, I think, have worked much better.
Oh,
than
absolutely,
the
because it's
numbers.
a little bit, it's broader. That was too narrow. However, I could utilize what I was saying in that panel and just take up, so you finish making your indie game, you think you're done. I mean, that's a tabletop
Same
RPG
exact idea.
is.
It's indie, yeah.
Yeah, it's indie. So I was basically able to say that. The next day, Saturday, was When Fandoms Collide, which was just kind of like, I have a funny story about when I was at this one place and I said I love the Harry Potter movies in front of people who are Harry Potter purists, and then fight ensued.
Isn't that basically you?
No, that was an example. Okay.
I'm saying that's your example.
Right, exactly. And then the last one was women in gaming, which was tense. Okay, going up to it, it was very tense because this is the type of panel that could get out of hand really thick and quick, depending on who's in the audience. However, thankfully, the vast majority, the entire audience was of like minds, which is slightly unfortunate because here's the deal. So you talk about a subject, an issue, right? And you do it at a convention. The issue is that supporters of that issue are probably going to be in the majority, if not all. So basically, you're preaching to the choir.
It's an echo chamber.
So now, of course, could people potentially walk out of there and try to like tell everyone about it? Sure, but
It would be nice to have some people maybe on the fence or looking the other way. They can have a earnest discussion with, because and I think that's the other issue too. Is say a hot topic button like women in gaming. Is I think it can also be hard to have a debate or discussion, whatever we want to call it, that's respectful and honest.
Right.
So it sounds like this would have been a good place for people maybe of different viewpoints to be able to talk in hopefully a respectful, non-asshat way.
Mhm.
Where it seems like a lot of times you get on the internet, it just takes that one asshat to drive the discussion downhill.
right. I mean, well, we're okay. Well, screw it. We're going to talk about it. We're at a point where once upon a time there was basically any news is good news for companies, for products, whatever, because it's getting your name out there.
Yep.
Now I feel like it's almost detrimental for you to have bad news because it could basically snowball. You could get trolled. You could get was it doxy? You could get like a
But it's like any news.
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just being a public figure.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, so now literally everyone and anyone, and I won't lie, I'm like this too when it comes to Alter Confusion. I walk on eggshells. Sometimes I have to rein back the intensity that I have for certain things, unless I do it on this show when I talk about Sony or EA, because I've already been blacklisted at EA. I don't really care
That's
at this
right.
point.
Well, take a look at. So there was a news article today where, so after the Cleveland Cavalier SmackDown last night,
Mhm.
somebody on Twitter went and talked smack about like Steph Curry's daughter and like niece or something, and that person ended up getting fired for the job. And so, kind of the idea of walking on eggshells, with all the confusion, maybe not saying anything, but in a way, kind of the world we live in, it kind of transcends not just what we do on Alter Confusion, but I definitely watch myself when I say in Facebook. I mean, there's a reason.
Oh, right.
There's a reason I only post cat pictures because you got to look at where you look and know anywhere you're going to do a job in the future. But the same thing goes for whatever we do in Alter Confusion. The reality is, like people at work, they know I do Alter Confusion.
Right.
So I mean, I know sometimes you get a little crazy. I try to get too crazy because I know at any time, who knows, at school might be watching this right now.
Well, the other thing is that when you are an owner of a product or a company, and when you're speaking on behalf of that product or company, sometimes that's not your real voice. That's the company voice, and so people, that line gets blurred, and that's when shit could really hit the fans because something that you basically have to tote the company line on something that you don't really believe in, but you're the figurehead or the face of the company, and now people are going, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Let's get him.
Well, I think at least in any of the potentially controversial topics, you and I pretty much agree.
Right, but the audience might not. That's we love you guys. We love you. Keep telling all your friends to come and say hello. But anyways, so Con Carolina was interesting. Spent a lot more money than I wanted to, basically on food. Well, it turns out there was food trucks there the entire time, but no one told me. So I'm just eating at the bar the entire time. I'm like,
yeah.
which, by the way, I am so far turned off of fried food, it is not even funny.
Is that what you had at the bar for like
God.
3 days straight?
I like these like they were good French fries, but they're like kind of like a weird grease on the French fries. So after a while, I'm just like, I don't want to eat
I don't
no
think that
more.
was a good idea after all.
So, anyways, so that's the con breakdown. We are off of the con circuit for quite a while. I will be attending Siege in October. That's the convention held by the Georgia Game Developer Association.
It's about 3 months away.
Yes, and then there's one more convention, and this one is in November, and that's called Big Fandom Greenville. There is a story behind Big Fandom Greenville, but you'll have to talk to the creators in order to get that story. I am not one of the creators, so I will not tell you the story. However, I am going to say something.
Charlie always says something.
Which was
well,
actually...
yeah, is this toting the company line?
It was actually it was an experience I had several times at Con Carolina, which was actually quite humorous.
Okay.
I had a lot of people come up to me and go, "Hey, you're the dude from Alter Confusion." I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "I saw your video." I'm like, "What video?"
You have a
He goes,
video?
yeah. The review of another convention, and all of a sudden,
yeah.
yeah. He goes, "Man, what you said was perfect, but the thing that you did that I don't think anyone else could be able to do is you put it nicely. Like, yeah, were you hard and tough on this certain convention? Yeah, but you did it where it was like factual and not like, I want to burn the building to the ground, everyone's gonna die."
Well, that would have been appropriate too.
That would have been appropriate.
Well,
But it
maybe not the people inside.
No, but it was funny because people kept coming up to me and
People like you're the Alter Confusion guy who did that review. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, well, because a lot of them were
I
either...
guess, yeah, because it's close to where it was.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
There you
people... no, he didn't want an autograph. Actually, he wanted to make damn sure that that we were 100% in for Big Fandom Greenville. And he's also... I'm also trying to work out a deal with him to perhaps be the lanyard sponsor for Big Fandom Greenville.
Ooh, look at that. Fancy pants.
So we'll see if that actually pans out or not. But yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. I can't do 2 conventions back to back. I want to apologize to those who attended Con Carolina where I seemed a little bit out of it. I was absolutely drained.
You're just dead.
Especially like halfway through Saturday, I did not have anything else in the tank. I mean, I was trying to pound energy drinks and everything, but and then I came back into town and like literally the next day I was back at work and I was toast. I had nothing.
See, here's the problem. You have so many damn energy drinks, though. You actually need a pick-me-up. What do you do to get a pick-me-up?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Yeah.
Right.
No. Well, yes. Okay, so technically, it could have been any convention, but MomoCon, because of the awesomeness, because of the epicness, and the fact that I was, running around trying to do interviews, and we had panels and other stuff, it definitely was quite the energy-absorbing experience.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so we have now reached the part of the show where I like to say, people, give us your topics, or we'll start talking about random topics, which for a fact we can do very well. All right, fine, I can do very well.
Charlie's got mad skills, and talking is one of them. Well, I'm glad one of us has that skill. Otherwise, it would be about 15 minutes of silence.
All right, so while we wait for anyone who has a topic or comment or whatever, I do want to point out that yesterday was another year of my time on Earth.
I thought that was today.
No.
June 9th. It's June 9th.
No, my birthday's on June 8th. It's always been on June 8th.
I think you're mistaken. I think your mom is telling you a lie, and it's.
So I got myself a little gift.
Oh Lord.
It is red. Well, actually, you can kind of see it. It's red from Transistor. It's a nice fixture. It is awesome. And then of course I also got a Oh for the Love of God. Wait, that's
Well, no, this is actually appropriate. Okay, it goes along very nicely.
well, this is red.
But I'm saying the Transistor album.
Right. Oh yeah, I got the
I'm just showing-
album.
yeah.
I got the figure, and then I also have the. I don't know where it went, but I also have a poster around here somewhere.
That's what I was showing you. It's that vinyl.
Alter Confusion Taipei Computex 2017. Well, no. Unless someone's paying for my flight, room and board, I can't make it out there.
Wait, I thought you were saying we just do the Ultra Fusion convention here in Atlanta next year. Yeah, Altered Con 2000.
It's called ACE, dude. It's Alter Confusion Expo. If the convention were to ever exist, it'd be called ACE.
Now, here's my problem. I worked at Ace Hardware.
Oh, we've already had this issue, and you just need to blank that out of your mind.
I do. You don't blank that out, man. I'm friendly hardware helper people. Thank you, John Madden. Sorry, I just don't think I can go to Ace. Like, no, I'm just gonna bring a screwdriver and stab somebody in the eye.
And sir, you'd be walked off the premise.
But I'm running the damn conference.
How about ECGC, East Coast Game Convention?
That sounds like I need an EKG. Like I'm at a medical conference.
No, I think I've actually looked into that one. PAX East.
That's actually a good point, Black Kid.
Touche. And to be honest with you, I find that the PAXs, all the PAXs, whatever, all the conventions that have the name PAX in it are way too effing big. Once upon a time, it was all about gaming. Now it's about companies showing off. It's basically the new E3, just in several different places. Thoughts on Overwatch, Zelius?
It's Blizzard. Like, okay, so I'll admit I've not actually played. I have not purchased Overwatch, but I played a fair amount of the beta, the last open beta that they had. And to me, it felt like very Blizzardly, where basically they take elements of other games, FPSs, and they're distilled to refine it down to infinite little nuggets of goodness. So, Overwatch is a solid FPS, but it's nothing revolutionary to me. Like, it plays like, I've played this. I played Team Fortress 2. Like, to me, Overwatch is Team Fortress 2. That's how it feels like it plays to me, only without as many maps.
And yet this is the hot thing.
Oh, I know it's hot. You know why it's hot too is, have you seen the marketing machine for Overwatch? Good Lord.
It's called Blizzard.
I mean, you
Or
can't go,
Activision.
yeah, you can't go anywhere without seeing, like, advertisements for Overwatch. So don't get me wrong. Overwatch is a solid FPS. Like, there's nothing bad about playing Overwatch, but it's just, that's Blizzard style. It's no different with Hearthstone. Basically, they took Magic and Magic the Gathering and dumped it down to an electronic card game. And same thing with Overwatch. The one thing I do like about Overwatch is the much more variety of characters. It does have more depth, yeah. It definitely has, you have 30 characters. So, like, you have 4 healers, you got more damage.
Oh my God.
Stuff.
All right, Zelius, go for it.
Okay, now you're just trolling, Tokumato. Now you're just trolling. But you are right. It does have more depth because there are a lot more characters, different things you can do. The one thing I felt like in beta, and I don't know if this is true in the version now, it definitely felt like some characters were completely overpowered. Like, you had the really fat chain guy, I don't know the person's name. Anytime he was in a battle,
The real big fat chain guy.
yes. Like, if you played the game, you actually know what I'm talking about. And he felt completely overpowered whenever I played a game. So I don't know if balance issues have been fixed. It's a fun FPS. The one thing that did turn me off was the lack of maps. I don't know if they still only have 3 maps. If they have more than that, I might be
Roadhog.
Roadhog, yeah. So if they have more maps than mine, I'd be like, okay, it's actually interesting now. But, like, there was also like 3 maps.
Oh, snap! Gauntlet's been thrown. Counter for everything. This needs more brains. Okay, so
Thanks, Charlie.
you're welcome. Real quick, So ECGC was mentioned. ECGC is basically like a small. It looks like a smaller GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference, which does cost an arm and a leg for basically the basic admittance. I think it's like $1,250. This one maxes out at $425. This is actually what I think Siege in Atlanta wants to be, but they haven't figured out how the hell to do it.
One thing I did appreciate, though, about Overwatch is I know at one time Blizzard talked about going free to play. That was like the original idea. It was to be free to play. And it would be just, like basically all your MOBAs, where you unlock all your characters and stuff. And kind of references Blaze Master said, where every character has a counter. Is I'm glad that they actually did not do the free to play, and you purchase the game, you get everything with it. And so that way you have all the characters up front. And for FPS, where those counters really do matter, I could definitely greatly appreciate that it's not free to play. So for me, that's definitely a pro for any first-person shooter, is that it's not free to play with all of the characters automatically unlocked.
So there you go.
Yeah. The other thing that did drive me nuts a little bit about healing is there was no overhealing. And again, that comes from playing Team Fortress 2 a lot. Is you had medic and you'd overheal, so you're always incentivized to heal people even if they're fully healed, because boom, now they're 150% health. And I just felt like that mechanic, for me, not having overheal in Overwatch was a little bit frustrating, but that's probably just having coming from Team Fortress 2 and have that expected mechanic.
Since we have a little bit of, actually, continue to give us topics and stuff, but I do want to point out one thing. There's shields.
Look, I don't know the game that well.
That's the overhealing.
I think I played as Mercy, and I don't remember having I don't know. I didn't play the game like hardcore, so you're probably right. There are different things I could have done. I'm not going to dispute you on that. That's just with my first takes of the game. Like I said, it's a solid first-person shooter.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do want to mention one small little thing that that we have been working on behind the scenes to try to help Ultra Confusion survive and prosper, and perhaps even grow to some extent.
We could grow in the 21st century.
And that is, give me 1 second, I'm just going to give you this screen capture here real quick.
It's all right, Nakamoto. Some people are passionate about their games. I totally understand.
So here we go. I know. It's a black screen.
The black screen of death. It is attacking us.
I hate the fact that it does this every single time. But boom.
There
All
must be
right,
some,
so
like,
ladies and gentlemen, Ultra Confusion has started a Patreon page. This is to help with the costs of everything: hotels, conventions,
web hosting,
buying
buttons,
T-shirts.
We have buttons. Wait,
down,
you can't see it now.
down.
Wait, there's our button. You can't really see it now. We have buttons. We have. We have lanyards. Everybody wants a lanyard from Ultra Confusion. This stuff costs Mountain Dews, man. Charlie paid for some blood of Mountain Dew.
So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/alteredconfusion, all one word. And of course, you can find out more information, or you can find the links, I think, on basically all of our social media websites.
And for those who don't know, Charlie mentioned that the $40 goal a month, The Return of Hawk and Steve, maybe. Hawk and Steve is the famous comic made by one Charlie Hawkins. So people, if you want Hawk and Steve to come back, we need $40, maybe. So we can see Hawk and Steve, which is live.
If we get $40, then I'll bring the webcomic back. I don't know how often I'll bring the web. I mean, I'll do it at least a week.
But it's not going to be like daily, is what you're saying.
No, it won't be daily.
We want Hawk and Steve, people. Come on. We can do this. Do it for Hawk and Steve. We need a resurrection. They need you. They need your help.
So basically, look. Ultra Confusion has been run out of my wallet for 8 years, almost 9 years. And in that time, I have put a lot of money in there. Of course, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in there. And I believe we've been on the verge of actually shutting down Altered Fusion twice. But I keep going doing it because I love video games. I love talking to people. I love going to conventions and networking and helping indie developers out as best I can. With this money, it helps us to the upkeep of our equipment, allows us to go to conventions, allows us to pay for power at conventions. And of course, basically
Our table
Our
and
table,
travel, gas,
hotel,
food,
yeah.
hotels. All adds up.
because the fact that screw it. In the almost 9 years that Altered Fusion's been around, there's been put close to, if not exceeding, $19,000 into it out of my own pocket. And as much as the fact of the matter is, I did put more money into it earlier on than later because I had this stupid dream of immediately being a AAA title review site. And to be honest with you, I think that was actually good for me to see that we couldn't do that, because now our focus is solely on indie games, and I think that we can do a lot more with indie games. And I think also if we have a little bit more money, perhaps I can incentivize additional people to help us review or edit or do some other kinds of pieces to Altered Fusion, which would allow us to even expand more.
Indeed, we want to expand and share the awesomeness.
Because there's so many games out there, I can't do them all. Yeah. Well. Anywho. But yeah, please, if you can help, donate whatever to Patreon. That would be awesome.
Indeed.
So moving on from that, we have about 13 minutes left.
13 minutes until the clock strikes midnight and the pumpkin strikes.
So there are a ton of games that I've got my eyes on in order to review. Be on the lookout for quite a few. The first one, of course, is probably going to be Crusaders of the Lost Idols, just because I've been putting a lot of time in that. Actually, no, the first one you're going to get is Ape Storm, because I still need to write that one. Where the hell's my phone? I'll tell you what they are. Because
Charlie has a list on his
I've got a bunch of indie mobile games that I need to get through. Who Lurks and Ape Storm, those two are going to get reviews. And then, of course, lots of PC games.
There's always more games.
Well, okay, so Dimension Drive's not out technically, so I'm not going to review that. Dragonfin Soup, however, is out. They're just going to launch an expansion, but I'll give that a review. I've also got to review The Last Door Season 2. I don't know if Quiver of Crows is actually technically out, so I'll have to double check on that one. Cornerstone, the Song of
Love.
Of Tiram.
No.
Chick U is also another one. PC indie game reviews with a little gameplay video.
Charlie does a lot of the gameplay videos.
I do.
No.
I'll fully admit that I haven't done many in the recent past, simply because I've been playing a lot of mobile games and I don't have a capture
And we've been at
rig
conventions.
for that. And we've been doing a lot of conventions as well as we've been trying to do a lot more. The thing is,
Yes, does anybody know a good way to actually capture video games on iOS devices would actually be helpful?
Yeah.
So if anybody throws that in the chat, let us know.
I think you need an emulator, and I think that you would have to have a developers. You would probably need a Mac to do it.
There has to be a way to do it straight from the iOS, though.
I don't know. Apple's kind of weird about that.
I mean, well, like for instance, you could easily stream this to your computer and then do a screen capture on your computer. Would work.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd lose frame rates and stuff, obviously, but you obviously see people on YouTube who obviously have straight from iPhone quality video. So there's got to be a way of doing it.
True. But anyways,
You were saying?
yeah, I just have a lot of games that I need to do reviews for. I've got quite a backlog. Because if you really want to break it down, I do about 98
hours of gameplay a week.
No, 98% of all the content on Ultra Confusion, maybe even 99.
Pretty close to it.
Anything on the iOS would need a Mac, just like development get an Android.
Hey now.
Unfortunately, some developers only develop for the iOS. Therefore, we don't want to exclude an indie developer out there.
And I'm honest, I like my iOS because I don't have to tinker with it. It just works out of the box. I'm too lazy to deal with more phone configurations by the time I get home. Yeah, it's just me.
Anyways, but anyway, so real quick, just kind of a summation here as we're getting closer to the end here. I can promise you that Ultra Confusion will be at bare minimum Kanuga and MomoCon, and I don't know what other conventions. We're gonna have to shuffle around. I will tell you this: as much fun as Con Carolinas was, I unfortunately will not be able to come back because it's still right after MomoCon, and I don't have. I want to give every single convention the best. I am not going to Taipei, okay? Unless someone pays for my, basically pays all the cost. As we stated before, it comes out of my pocket. Everything comes out of my pocket.
No, it really was not whacked.
No, it wasn't a bad con. It was just, you basically had to find, it had its own pace, okay? So it was more buddy networking friendly. It wasn't, you had a bunch of people this constant stream of people. It was much more laid back.
A, it was not in a factory. B, there was air conditioning. It was a win-win.
There were many more people.
Hey, I'm just saying it's a bare minimum.
I know. We have been to very small conventions that were run badly, and we've been to very large conventions that were run very well.
Yes. There's everything in between.
Con Carolina is a big writers convention. Yes, absolutely. There was a ton of sci-fi writers, and I'm very happy that I went there because I actually made quite a few contacts through those people. White Kid, if you can give us the dates of Nashi and you can get us into Nashi, then we'll go to Nashi. Okay, so here's one of the issues that we also run into. There are a lot of conventions in Atlanta. However, a lot of them are anime conventions, and those anime conventions want to stay pure, which is okay. It's kind of weird, but sure. Because MomoCon was an anime convention. It's now more of an anime convention with general fandom wrapped up in there, and that's allowed them to basically expand at a very successful rate. There's quite a few conventions around Atlanta that are strictly anime. They don't want anything to do with video games, so
it works for them now.
Yeah, more power to them. Right, but will Nashi allow for video game people to go in there? Aha!
Uh-oh. Maybe we just go up and enjoy the day at NashiCon as spectators at a convention.
I can't go to a convention and not be working. It's too weird. I tried. It's just too weird. I get.
Dude.
It's too weird, man.
When was the last time you tried to do it? You could do it. Come on, dude. You can do it. See, even a board game room we could go hang out at.
We'll think about it.
You could do it. Just hang out for a day, not work. Maybe have some lanyards on.
I'll think about it.
Maybe, you can do like the Mr. T thing and have like 50 Ultra Confusion lanyards. People are like, dude, what's wrong? Yeah, have a lanyard.
No.
I think it'd be awesome.
No. Right, kid, we'll talk about it later. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we have 6 minutes to go, and I think we're basically at the closing of this.
My brain's already off for the week.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
So,
see, White Kid really wants us to go. How about this, White? We could go, and I could help you be like your video man. Go around, hold the microphone.
God, Jesus, no, you do not want him holding your very expensive camera.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
What you talking about? When have I ever dropped your camera?
Yeah, okay.
I brushed my case. When have I ever dropped your camera? Hmm?
Okay, so you weren't holding my camera when you dropped it.
What are you talking about?
You have a very big tendency of not watching what's like plugged into the ground, and you've taken out my camera while charging.
Well, I wasn't actually holding it, so it's fine.
Oh my God. Anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've reached the end of the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending. I do want once again want to reiterate, support your indie developers, be it in board games, tabletop RPGs, video games, music, books, and any other genre out there. They are amazing people. There's some crazy stuff out there that you just need to find the right place to find out about. Anyways, so thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. Oh, real quick.
Wait, nope. Charlie always has something else.
Please follow us on Facebook at
Ultra Confusion.
Twitter.
At Ultra Confusio without the N because.
The N would break the internet.
Oh my. We cannot have the tubes busted.
YouTube.
At Ultra Confusion LLC.
And of course, if you're watching this live on Twitch, you already know where we're at. But just in case you're not watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/alteredconfusion. And of course, you get everything and anything and everything at www.alteredconfusion.com.
So I just assume people watching this already know how to get to us on Twitch. Maybe it's a fallacy of mine. It's very possible.
That's right. But as I stated before, if you're watching this from YouTube, you may not know where Twitch is. All right.
I
anyways.
worry if you don't know what Twitch is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning
Yes,
in to the
I'm
Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Celia, it's been a pleasure to give you the craziness coming out of our
And
brains
don't
and our
forget to
mouth.
follow Watch Kid.
And follow White Kid because he's awesome. And yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the very near future, which at the very least will be next Thursday for another Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.